Hey all. So today I thought I would go through how to take a testosterone injection. I'm going to go through right now the things you will need. I'm not actually going to give the needle to myself, so I'm doing this at my kitchen counter. I would normally do this in the bathroom. Lysol, can of Lysol. You're going to need alcohol swabs. You're going to need two different size needles. One is larger than the other. The larger one draws it up, and then the smaller one is what you inject with. You're obviously going to need a syringe to put the needle on. And I think I covered everything. Okay, so we'll start with that. The first thing you're going to do is take your Lysol and spray the countertops. If you're going to sit somewhere, Lysol that where you're going to sit. Before you touch anything as you're laying it out, wash your hands. This process gets interrupted for whatever reason and you have to touch something else, wash your hands. That's my advice for what it's worth. So then with your hands washed and clean, I would unwrap the needles and the syringe and have them ready to go. So the next thing you're going to do is you would take your syringe and you would take the big needle and attach it to screws on. I make sure it's really tight. And then the next thing you're going to do is take the cap off the needle. Now the way I do this is I hold on to the base with my left hand, and then I rest my right hand on my left, and then I push with my thumb and my first finger and push the lid off. I have been pricked by these. It can happen. So you really do need to pay attention and be careful how you do this stuff. So the next thing I do is fill the syringe with air. So you bring it down to the number 7 or wherever you like. It's just air. So this is an old testosterone. It's an empty testosterone. So I'm just going to use it for demonstrating purposes. So the best way to do this with your syringe at the 7 level, full of air, is to puncture the middle of the bottle and then you flip it over. So the first thing I do while the tip is immersed in the liquid, that's the best way to avoid bubbles. I push the needle to expel all the air. I do that fairly slowly. I'm getting all the air out. And again, make sure the needle is immersed in the liquid. So I start pulling it down very slowly. There it is. So then I pull the needle out. Then I take the lid for this needle, put it back on very carefully. And so I'm now going to take the needle off. And so I have my left hand on the base, and my forefinger and my thumb are going to do the lifting. And so you just unscrew it and then lift it off altogether. And then you take the smaller needle. This is going to be going into your thigh, and you screw it on very, very as tight as you can. I don't know if this is going to be clear or not, but I put my hand right where your groin is, I guess you'd call it, where your leg bends. Okay, so I put it right there. That's where my the base of my hand goes, and then it's an easy measurement if you put this right where your leg bends and you put your middle finger down. That's about a third way down to your thigh. That's where you're going to put the needle. So I will take a disinfectant wipe, cleanse the area where I'm going to put the needle, and do that 3 times just to be really, really sure that it's disinfected. I will take my needle with the liquid in it, give it a turn to make sure the needle itself is in tight, and then you can remove the cap. And then you will push the needle from the bottom and push it up until you see that. Now that is water, so that's why it's coming out a little quicker. The testosterone is thick, but just double check that you have also gotten rid of any air bubbles. Now, like I said, this is water, so the consistency is different. with the testosterone, it's pretty clear. The bubbles usually will form at the top there, or the air will be at the top, and then when you push it up, you're guaranteed you're going to get rid of all the air bubbles before the actual liquid, the testosterone, starts to come out the top. So once it's coming out the top like that, then you know you're ready to go. So I will take the skin on my thigh and pinch it up like that. That's where I will put the needle. I don't just boom, and I don't just I find this approach of gently but consistently pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, it breaks through, and it does it in a way that I find it's relatively painless. Now, not gonna lie, sometimes this can be painful. Sometimes, for whatever friggin' reason, you hit, I don't know, a nerve or a muscle doesn't agree with it, and your muscle will cramp. And when that happens, it's ow. But as soon as that happens, I just pull back, like I pull back up a bit on the needle, give the muscle a second, and then slowly start it again, test it out, see if it can take it, and usually it can. So you just keep doing that until you get to where there's no needle showing. Push down on the needle. I don't like to just plunge it. I do it pretty slow and steady. Once that is down and I've reached the absolute end of the testosterone being injected into my thigh, I very gently but firmly pull straight up. There is usually blood that happens right where the needle went in. That's why I have 3 alcohol swabs left over, and they're already open. So I just take those out, and I will put the alcohol swab right where I've injected, and I just hold it. Then we'll take the next one and clean all around the area. I just want to make sure the area is very, very clean, like disinfected clean. And I think that's it. So I hope that is helpful. And I will catch you on the next video.